Let's bring in, speaking of Jimmer.
Yeah, I'll take one Jimmer
Our
again.
pleasure to welcome back to the Wise Guys one of the most beloved athletes in BYU history, who USA Basketball just named its 3-on-3 Male Athlete of the Year, the great Jimmer Fredette, from his home in Colorado. It looks like you're in some kind of spaceship. It's like you could be orbiting the Earth from a capsule. Where are you at?
I am just in my office, not the capsule, but it's my wife told me if we're going to do your office in the new house, we're going to do it big and we're going to make it nice for Zoom calls. And she made her promise. So it's great.
You need to demand this stuff like Steve Young did for ESPN. I was over to his house. He made them come in and retrofit his whole office with like two moving remote cameras and this whole like TV set in his office so he could just do it all from the office.
Yeah, see, I'm not there yet.
You will be.
Maybe,
you will
be.
Maybe
One day. But I will say this. You guys don't want 5 Jimmers on the same team. There's not enough basketballs around, right? I don't know who's going to be passing, playing defense, all that stuff. But
so
I get your point.
There would be a fight over who had to throw the ball in because one of the 5 Jimmers would have to be out of bounds.
Exactly. We can't have that problem.
I've been really impressed. I'm wondering, and you came on the air with us this last week and did pre and halftime and post with us. This team seems to kind of be without ego when it comes to that, which is really remarkable in today's basketball. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think there's a couple different things, right? So they're unselfish. They like each other off the floor. And I think that translates to on the floor. They don't care who's scoring at what time. They see that that's a successful plan for them. So they're buying into that system, right? They're seeing that. Sharing the ball, being unselfish, getting to around 20 assists per game is something that is working for them. That formula is doing really well. So because of that, they're bought into it. So if they're seeing a guy that's open, they're going to make that extra pass. But then you have to have guys that can make those shots. And we have a team of guys that can make those shots. They're really good at catching and shooting the basketball, which is a skill you have to have. But we have 4, 5, 6 of those guys that can actually catch, shoot the ball, and make it at a high level. So there's a lot of different things that go into it, but being unselfish and being able to make those shots are obviously key.
The chemistry of your senior year and the chemistry of this team is now 10-1, which matches the best start, matches your best start, which is the best start since '87 when they went 17-0 or so. But do you sense a similarity in the chemistry, the athletes, and how you scored points and how this team scores points is a little bit different, but it takes something special to go 10-1.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, the thing about them is they are consistent. And I think that the chemistry off the floor can translate, like I said, onto the floor. But the fact of the matter is that these guys have been playing together now for 2 or 3 years. And I think that helps, right? Like when you are able to get full seasons under your belt together, that's only going to help progress and have that trust once you get onto that floor. So the fact that some of these guys have been playing together for 2 and even 3 years together, that just helps a ton. So I think that's something that's really important. And then also Coach Pope has done a really great job of being like, hey, this is what your role is. This is what I want you to do when you're on the court. And that person is buying into that specific role because it's something that is not difficult in today's day and age when you have NIL and you have all this stuff. And it's like, hey, this is a me thing. If I score the most points, I'm going to make the most money off the court. So to be able to have this type of camaraderie with this team, seeing that if they play well, now they're number 5 in net rating and playing extremely well, they're all going to be able to eat because of it, and they're all going to be able to get that NIL stuff because of this. So it's not easy to buy in that way, but they're doing a great job.
Jonas Hayes, the head coach for Georgia Southern, Dave and I were shooting around in practice, and we were talking about this team, and he said the thing that is interesting about them, they all these shooters, and he goes, and then I go watch the tape on the defensive end. And somehow, Mark has these guys bought in that they also have to defend really hard. And he said, that doesn't always go together when you got that many shooters that they'll actually buy in and defend as a team as hard as this team defends. How rare is that to have a team that shoots the way BYU does and still want to defend on the other end?
Yeah, it's the makings of a championship team, right? Like you literally have to do both ends if you want to be a complete championship team. You can be great at one end of the floor and make it far and still do really well. But if you look at the NBA champions, the NCAA champions, they usually are almost always top 10 in offense and defense, right? And that's just the way that it works, because you have to have a collective unit. It's a two-way game. So we understand that you got to have guys that sacrifice on the defensive end, the offensive end. So they're full of guys that are 3-and-D guys, which is like perfect for what NBA teams are looking for at this point. They're looking for guys that can catch and shoot and then play defense on the other end. And we have a bunch of guys that can do that, but have length and can kind of deflect passes. But then, defense is about buying in on that other end of the floor, being able to just buy into a system. So even if you're not great individually on the defensive end, if you buy into a system, know where you're supposed to be, know where your help is coming from, you become exponentially better just by knowing where you're supposed to be. And these guys know where they're supposed to be.
Jimmer Fredette is on the Wise Guys, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and ysguys.com. So you were here with us earlier in the week in Provo doing some studio stuff for BYU TV and ESPN Plus, and we look forward to having you join us out on the floor calling games. And I know we're working on that. But what was it like to be on the other end of our basketball coverage instead of having the camera on you on the floor? You're in the booth or in the studio, and you only have 20 seconds to say something, that's really good. It's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely different. But I enjoyed it. I had such a great time. You're just kind of shooting it with a bunch of friends and hanging out and talking basketball. And it's something that I feel comfortable doing. I've obviously played for a long time, played in a BYU uniform for a long time. So I kind of know what those guys are going through. And to be able to be there with Jerem and Tyler, who've been doing it for a little while. Obviously, Jerem is great at just driving the conversation. So it makes it easy for us to just kind of feed off of him and be able to kind of just talk basketball. So I did my homework, watched some Denver games and watched obviously a bunch of BYU games, and tried to really get into it and do my homework so that I was prepared coming into it. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was fun to watch the games and kind of dive into the schemes and what they're trying to do and then be able to talk about it. So I'll be doing a lot more of it, and I'm excited to get out there with you guys too.
Good. Yeah, we see a day where you cross the street and come down and sit down next to us, and we'll get after it as it happens. It's a rush, but it'll be great to tap into your knowledge, and of course, basketball fans will love it as well. So we look forward to that. How has this start changed how you think this BYU team might do in the Big 12?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, I think it's changed most people's opinion of BYU. I knew that they would be better this year just because of the sheer fact that the guys are older. Yeah. And like I said, it's the experience helps. Going through battles helps. Whether you win it or you lose it, as long as you take away from the game something positive, you're going to move in the right direction when you have veteran guys that want to win and are leaders. So I was excited about the year. I didn't think it was going to start off like this. Right. I don't think most did. But now you look at a team that, can compete in the Big 12. And, I'm not saying that they're, going to win the Big 12. I don't know if we all believe that's going to happen, but I think they can be around a 500 team in the Big 12. And if you do that, you're doing really well and you're making the tournament. Like if you're a 500 team in the Big 12, you're making the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
that's how difficult it is.
Yeah, with this preseason, Jimmer, if they went 500 in the league, because nobody expected them to, and they should not lose the rest of the preseason before they play Cincinnati. If they went 500, they'd probably be a 4 seed. That's nuts. You can go 500 in this league and because if you went 500 in the WCC, you're not even going to the NIT.
It's different.
It's a whole different deal, right?
It's much different. You're playing against St. Mary's Gonzaga's every night, right? In the Big 12. So that's going to be the difference. That's what I look for, because I do think that they can be around a 500 team in the Big 12, but I will say that there's going to be a time where they're probably going to lose 2-3 straight just because of the beast of the schedule. Yeah. At that point, you really have to focus in on being like, hey, it happens. This is what happens during this Big 12 run. Pretty much every team goes through it in the Big 12. Now we have to focus on the next game. We can't let that snowball and be like, all right, get your confidence down. Be like, I don't know if we belong here. That's not the case. It happens to everybody. You just have to keep focusing on the next game, because that next game is your biggest game. And the more wins you can rack up in the Big 12, the better. So it's really important that they have that mindset going in, being, hey, if you lose 1, if you lose 2, if you lose 3, it's okay. Just keep pushing.
Couple more questions with the great Jimmer Fredette. One thing bigger than the Big 12 is the big world. Paris Olympics coming up, 3-on-3 basketball to represent Team USA. What does that mean to you? Have you been able to kind of wrap your mind around it?
Honestly, not yet. It still kind of hasn't hit me yet. It's still a little bit of ways away, and we just got done with our season. So now I'm taking a little bit of time to relax and kind of hang out with the family. Obviously, we got the holidays coming up. So I'm trying to just, enjoy that. But I know in the back of my mind, every single day, I'm thinking about, the Olympics, right? And trying to picture myself on the floor, under the tent with the stands around it outside, and just all the people that are going to be there, the buzz, the feeling of it. I mean, I've played in the World Cup. I played in the Pan Am Games. I played in some big tournaments with the USA on my chest for 3-on-3, but I know that the Olympics is going to be such a different experience even from those. And to be able to have, an opportunity to play with, Team USA in the Olympics and walk in the opening ceremonies and do all these amazing things will just be a dream come true, because it's something that I've watched my whole life. Ever since I've been growing up, I've loved watching the Olympics. So it's crazy.
Yeah, former Cougar, NBA lottery pick, international superstar Jimmer Fredette on the Wise Guys with us tonight. Yeah, I can't imagine. This is going to be awesome. You've been traveling around? You mentioned you've had USA on your chest, and you've been traveling around playing in 3-on-3 tournaments as you've prepared for this all over the world. Have you had any Jimmer moments, like in far off places with former, with BYU fans and stuff?
I'll tell you, every single place that I've gone to, and it does not matter. We've been to Mongolia, we've been to Macau, China, we've been to Hong Kong, we've been to Cebu, Philippines, we've been to Santiago, Chile, we've been to Kosovo. We literally everywhere. It's pretty crazy. I have yet to be at a tournament where I have not seen a BYU shirt there.
That's awesome.
Not one tournament, not even in Mongolia, not even it does not matter. I have seen BYU, and actually at probably 4 or 5 of the tournaments, I've seen the missionaries. They've kind of just walked around and glanced and were like, hey, there's a basketball tournament. And then I, see them and they'd be like, oh, this is great. So it's been an amazing experience. BYU is truly worldwide. It obviously a lot to do with the church, and it's incredible the support that I continue to still have 12 years removed from BYU. To be able to have that is really, really special. I don't think many universities can offer that.
Now, listen, you get a medal. I don't care if it's bronze, silver, or gold.
That would be so
global
fun.
Jimmermania is going to be something.
And you scattered it out. We can medal in this thing, right? You guys can go take gold, can't you?
We definitely have a shot. We're up there with the best teams in the world. Obviously, we were going in number 2 ranked. Serbia is number 1, but 8 teams get into the show. And how they do it is you play each team once. So, and then at that point they'll seed you. The bottom 2 teams will be out of the tournament. The top 2 teams will get a bye to the semifinals, and then the other 4 will play in a quarterfinals to get to the semis. So if you can get in the top 2, you're already in the medal rounds. So
yes,
that's huge. So hopefully we can do well in those 7 games and come out and do well and be able to get into that semifinal round right away. And then it's 1 game and you're into the gold medal match. So, I mean, yeah, it's exciting to think about. And
it's good TV. It's not like curling, it's exciting. And I tell you what, you with space, and I think Fran Fraschilla said it the other day, you with space, it's tough to stop you anyway. But you with space, like a couple of 4 or 5 fewer guys out on the floor, it just seems to fit your game. And I think the world's ready to watch you do that.
It's absolutely great. I mean, the thing about it is it's such a fast pace. I mean, my wife Whit, she loves watching sports. She does. She's a big sports fan. She watches the BYU football, basketball, whatever it is. She loves it. But she doesn't usually watch games too often unless I'm watching with her or I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'll be at a tournament somewhere, or I'll be, somewhere in another country, and there'll be a 3-on-3 tournament going on, and she'll be sitting there watching the 3-on-3 tournament without me in it, without any rooting interest or anything like that.
That's awesome.
Because it's really fun to watch. It honestly is, because it's such a quick pace. It's only 10 minutes or first to 21. And so she, you watch it, and kids can watch it. It's very easy to consume, and just It's short paced, so I mean it's super fun, and I think people will like it if they watch it.
Yeah, I think
Hey,
you're right.
Jimmer, Dave's in trouble now because people are hitting him on the chat asking what's wrong with curling. Like he dissed curling and people are on him already.
Listen,
Hey, I'm one of those guys that watches every single sport in the Olympics, literally everything. So we have the U.S. curling. I think it's the U.S. curling like facility in Littleton, Colorado. So there's so many people that are enjoying curling in this area. So yeah, watch what you say.
For the record, Jimmer and I are curling fans. It's only Dave that hates curling. Only Dave hates curling.
The thing with curling is you can't tell if you're watching it live or in slow motion. It's just the same thing. All right, Jimmer, let's finish with this one.
Love it.
It's Christmas week. I'm sure there's a holiday buzz. I saw you tweeted out some videos singing Christmas carols with the kids yesterday, which was great. Let's wrap with this. What is your favorite childhood Christmas memory?
Childhood Christmas memory. Well, the one specific one that I could think of, my parents always did a great job of, getting the presents under the tree. And I remember one specific year I asked for an infusion basketball. And I don't know if you guys remember what an infusion basketball is.
I remember, yes.
It's literally a basketball that's indoor, outdoor, but it had a built-in pump in the basketball. And for some reason, I wanted that thing so badly. And I was hoping, and I woke up Christmas morning, and that was my big gift. I got an infusion basketball, and I used that thing for 10 years afterwards. Like, leather was torn off, everything. So that was my favorite gift that I got from my parents when I was younger. Just loving that. And then one other quick thing, we always had at my mom's house, we had my brother, my sister, and me. And there were 5 stockings up there. But there was only one green stocking. Everything else was white. So we were always fighting over who was going to get that green stocking. And I called it this year. Even I don't know if my
so
brother and
you guys
sister
still
even
get
think about it anymore. But
you still have it.
You're in Colorado and you called it?
I called it early this year. It was in like October.
It's like calling a shotgun, right? Like shotgun,
yes.
a green
like
stocking.
Exactly. I got the green stocking. I called it early, for sure. Got it this year. I think I've had it like 5 years consecutive because I call it super early, and it's the way it works. But I'm also the youngest, so I think I had they allowed me to get it
that works out for you.
People always they don't know what true white Christmas is like because they didn't grow up where you and I grew up. And Jimmer and I know what snow is like for Christmas where we grew up, and that's the one thing I miss. I feel like we don't have enough white Christmases around here. Back home in upstate New York where we grew up, seemed like we always had a white Christmas and a white winter all winter long, right?
It was white / like dark brown and black towards the end of it, right? So, because it just stayed there the whole time. So it started off pretty and nice, and then it would just turn dark quickly.
We're guaranteed Rudolph's going to come through because someone's got to get through the smog.
That's right. We got smog here. We got smog for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, we're proud of you. We look forward to seeing you soon here on the basketball coverage and with us on ESPN Plus and BYU TV. So give our best to Whitney and the kids. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. This was fun. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, Jimmer.
The great Jimmer Fredette getting ready for the Olympics, and I think they're going to go over and win the gold medal. And that's not just saying I hope they do, because I hope they do.
No,
but they've done well enough in these tournaments to be legit going over there. And I know Serbia's tough, but they can be beat.
And those are the 2 best teams in the world right now, and they've been playing in these tournaments, and so the U.S. is, as Jimmer pointed out, the number 2 seed going in. Serbia's the number 1 seed. Oh, they can get Serbia.
Yeah.
So
just get Jimmer the ball.
Yes.